give up kills. Like, that's the main thing for him. He doesn't even have to be a big carry. So I think if he just goes in and plays very safe, which he didn't do against Immortals, he's going to be okay, but he's obviously not going to have the same impact a guy like Bang will have.
Well, gentlemen, we can believe the hype. We are into picks and bans for game 1 here on day 2. It is Group B's SK Telecom pre-tournament. Favorites for the whole thing taking on CLG. Darshad's favorite to win the whole thing. Bard, Fiora, Kalista taken away by SK Telecom. A lot of respect to Aframu's Bard, who has been really playing that a lot. And then Cogmore Nautilus, the reply, targeting both Duke as well as Bang.
Kind of interesting they're banning Kalista. I think you could actually value that as a first pick, but clearly they have something else in mind. Otherwise, you would never ban it on the blue side. In this case, against also an AD carry like Stixay, who's not the big carry on this team.
So just go Lucian here, or they actually valued the Nidalee? So
different jungler,
based on a
different
tournament,
style.
Based on a tournament, I would expect a Lucian here because Nidalee wasn't really highly valued. But if this was like purely an AU, I would have screened for Nidalee pick. So I'm really happy. I mean, that SKT picked this up.
Had this been Bengi, they wouldn't have first picked Nidalee.
Yeah.
This is again Blank coming in, more mechanically gifted jungler for this lineup. So they value Nidalee clearly very highly. One bad thing for SKT by being bull side is the fact that counter picking top lane is going to be almost impossible because CLG will most likely save that pick.
I mean, this Poppy almost has to go top at this point, so...
Suddenly they show it though, yeah, that's actually very early. And
so they don't...
That kind of goes against CLG's normal stuff.
Yeah, maybe they just want to predict SKT is going to react to the split push style and play something else. That will be weird. Other than that, so they have an early Poppy locked in. They could have just locked in their jungler, so they know very likely that the Smithy is just going to be playing Gragas. That's like, I feel that's 90% sure.
Or the Udyr.
Or the Udyr, perhaps. So you could have locked that in an early rotation, so they decided to hide that a little bit to get a little bit of a feel what SKT is going for. And they seem to be going for protect the AD carry comp.
We have seen this a lot before. The last 6 games SKT played, they had Lulu in 4 of the games. Faker played Lulu in every single one of them. Yeah. And it's a pick that does extremely well with Bang, because Bang is super good at getting to his power spikes on AD carries. He's most likely going to pick Ezreal in this case, and then you farm up to 2 items fully complete, stack that tier, and then you can start team fighting so effectively, and it's super difficult to deal with. When they have run this before, we've seen like a Tahm Kench top lane come in. Not necessarily guaranteed we're going to get that pick here, but it is, if they want to just like a pure protect,
go all in,
Bang, full on, we have seen that before.
Well, we'll see what they can do. I know Monte Cristo was talking a lot about Faker's Lulu in terms of preparation coming in and spoke very highly of his damage per minute with a large number of Lulu games under his belt, obviously being helped out by that lane bully status. But for CLG, they seem to be going quite all in on this team fighting with the Pumpy, the Gragas, the Thresh, leaving a counter pick for Hui in the mid lane. And we need to see which way he's going to go. Will it be the Lux? Will it be the LeBlanc?
Thresh is a little surprising though, given that you know that you're going to be playing into an Ezreal, Lulu, and Braum. I feel like it's very hard to make a Thresh work, because whatever you hook will get wild growth, you will never burn it. You're kind of playing at the front parts of the team fight where all this poke will just incidentally hit you or splash on top of you, and you're just not tanky enough. Alistar was available on the table, but Aframu likely didn't feel comfortable playing like 3 of these champions that go into the deep pits of the team fight, you know, next to Poppy, next to Gragas. Do we really want an Alistar in there?
I feel it's also just for the laning phase itself, having a double range laning phase now, make up for the fact that your AD carry might not be the strongest laner by picking a strong 2v2, and then you can opt into it.
What's the odds that SKT were anticipating an Ezreal lock-in? Because that Ezreal...
I mean, SKT were 100% going to pick it as soon as they had the Lulu lock and they saw Lucian being picked.
Yeah.
Trundle as well, I've become a big Trundle top fan, especially into the likes of Poppy, because she gets even extra MR and armor with a W. So there's a lot of stats to steal away, and once you get literally just 1 item under your belt, you can actually 1v1 almost any top laner except for a Fiora, which you can struggle against. But we even saw that go very, very even yesterday. So you basically put Duke in a situation where he can either be a split pusher, or he can even join a fight and actually have an impact, because he can steal the stats of the Poppy, be very, very tanky. And the pillar for disengage together with Lulu Braum, super strong teamfight comp from SKT, and just all around, I like it.
Yeah, safe lane here in the mid from Hui. He's going to yield the pressure though, because Lulu level 1 to 6 has an incredibly strong laning phase. Actually, many mid laners in Europe regard her as the strongest early laning phase overall, so that's the win push in the mid. That means that Nidalee will be able to invade, but you do have that really nasty, gnarly top lane 2v2 combo with the Poppy and the Gragas. So if CLG finds standard lanes, technically SKT should struggle a little bit to stay alive, because at least one of those lanes should be under pressure from the Gragas early until the Nidalee can get the CS advantage.
Gentlemen, I need a prediction and a one-liner as to why you feel a team will win this opening game. SKT or CLG Deficio?
SKT I don't trust 100% in CLG's team fighting comp because we just haven't seen that style really be impactful before.
Good, 2 lines, I like it.
It's a long line.
SKT because Faker to make up for Deficio's long line.
There you have it, adding a second line on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the LCK takeover as we head over to Doa and Monty.
Hey guys, welcome to game number 1 here on day 2 of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. I'm Doa, that's Monty Cristo, and we're about to go into SK Telecom versus CLG, the matchup that Monty was born to cast.
That's right, I'm here, my former team versus the 2-time world champion team that I cast in Korea. So it should be a good time. A bit interesting in this one, actually.
Time chamber to get a little bit of practice by himself, get Blank a little bit of international experience, but this guy is untested. This is a jungler for SK Telecom that they put a lot of faith in, but has had a lot of trouble in Korea already on the international stage. You got to think those nerves are going to be even bigger, so we'll see how he can handle it.
Yeah, Blank has a small sample size, but he's still sitting at about 52% kill contribution, which is extremely low for a jungler. Ideally, you'd like to see about 70 plus for any jungler, and he just hasn't been clicking with the rest of the team. We'll be playing that counter jungling style into a winning matchup versus Gragas, so that's a big plus.
Oh wow,
for him.
Faker.
Cute little move
by the
there.
Thunderlord.
That's what can happen. Of course, the Lux passive with an auto attack in one of her spells will proc that. So getting a nice little early advantage there. But for SKT in this game, as we see an invade coming in on the bottom side, and Wolf going to be finding Xpithian Darshan there. But this is about keeping those lanes pressured so that Nidalee can do the work. And the lane swap should account for that, at least for the time being, and give Bang some breathing room here on the Ezreal, which is a champion we've seen Stixxay playing a lot recently, this time prioritizing the stronger laner, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, and Bang would have been fine on that Lucian or that Ezreal as well, who he in a little bit of trouble, gets exhausted already. Aphromoo flashes over the wall for the double play. Faker on the run now. Ignite ticking down. Faker has to burn that flash. Looks like he'll just barely get out. But already some pressure turned right around onto SK Telecom by CLG.
Yeah, who he handling himself quite well, and both supports actually doing that roam play right there. That's not something that we've seen. We did see TSM try and do that in a lane swap yesterday. Unusual to see both players actually going in for that, and 2 summoners burned, but by the time Aphromoo actually gets in a lane again, those should be back up, so well won there by CLG.
Yep, getting that flash away from Faker early on is going to make things a little bit more dangerous, and it honestly puts more pressure on Blank, right? I mean, one of the things that Bengi does so well is kind of enable Faker to be really aggressive in lane, and Faker's going to have an even harder time doing that without flash.
Yep, certainly a big advantage too. It will affect the jungle matchup also if Faker's not able to extend very deep. But yeah, this is great. Last time we saw the failed gank in mid from TSM sort of slow down the tempo on that tower push, but with both supports going for the mid lane play this time, it doesn't really matter, so towers will be falling, and definitely an advantage there for CLG.
Yep, the good old lane swap that we've seen so much of pretty much worldwide right now. But how much milling around in mid lane will we get after these other outer turrets fall? Before the action finally begins, Monty, that's what I want to know. We had such an action-packed day yesterday, especially game number 1. I feel like this one's not going to be quite as action-packed.
Yeah, it may not be. Interestingly, Bang is going for an early cull here instead of a tier, so that's quite curious. Just looking to scale up as fast as he can. A few more combat stats, of course, on that item as a first buy, but he will not be stacking up that tier or getting that Muramana quite as quickly. Darshan now having to fall back as Bang and Wolf come down to lane. Same thing in the top side with Duke, so besides that sort of double support gank in the mid lane, everything going fairly standard.
I mean, you wonder with that cull for Bang if maybe getting that stacked up a little bit quicker helps you get a slightly faster Iceborne Gauntlet while it doesn't really slow down your tier as much. I'm trying to like figure out why you would do this.
He may not have had enough money for the tier 2 as a
could be
fast swap back, so I didn't check on that at the time. But in any case, we'll be charging that up. We have seen some players like Doublelift yesterday getting the tier cull and really just trying to scale up very quickly in these lane swap scenarios. And I like the fact that cull is a very situational item right now, and that you can buy it in these lane swaps, and it is useful, but probably not in standard lanes unless you're in certain matchups like versus an Ezreal where he's going to buy that early tier.
It's been interesting. You know, one thing I feel like we should talk about with SKT is that, yeah, they're 6th place in Korea right now, and they aren't doing quite as great, but one of the maybe more surprising things about them statistically is that they tend to be pretty far behind gold-wise at 15 minutes compared to a lot of the other, you know, top teams in Korea and other regions and things. But they seem to always come alive around, like, what, 12 to 15 minutes, something like that, slightly after 15 minutes in the mid-game. So even if you get SK Telecom behind early, sometimes you can really struggle when they decide to flip the switch.
Yeah, that's definitely true. They certainly have a stronger mid and late game, but there have been a lot of mistakes. I mean, we have to remember SKT is coming off 2 consecutive losses versus Longzhu and the Afrika Freaks. So it hasn't been easy for them. We are going to see the Dragon get taken down now by Blank. Wolf will just go ahead and switch off on the aggro for that. Will be a bit of a slow take here, but good timing.
Yeah.
Overall, this won't be interrupted. So Blank starting that while the turret was still going down, and they're going to get a head start on the Dragon stacks.
Yeah, an early Dragon for SKT. I feel like that's something we don't generally see a lot. Be careful, Blank. Okay, it's all right. SKT gets Dragon number 1. And so far so good for Blank. But can he gank? Can Blank gank?
And Blank has not been a very good ganker, it has to be said, in his career so far. But these lane swaps, you're rarely going to see these ganks in the first place. Looks like Aframu and Stixay will be heading back down to that bottom lane. So everybody's swapping back up again. Bang and Darshan going head-to-head.
Yeah, Darshan actually taking quite a bit of damage here. Teleport coming in onto Bang to try and take some pressure off. Darshan low. Pang rather takes first blood. That TP canceled. Didn't want to follow through with it. And so just the 1v1. Bang getting a kill already. Huh.
You know, I hate to say it, Doa, but Darshan is strong in NA, but when we've seen him play against players from other regions, he hasn't really been able to hold up. At the World Championship, he didn't hold up to Smeb. I think Duke is going to be a big problem for him, but even in that scenario, being very aggressive, not communicating well with Xmithy, and they burned a TP from Huhi on that too, just a little bit greedy and not having the stats to actually deal with this Ezreal.
Yeah, TP coming in for CLG. They want to try to secure this tier 2, I suppose. Hui in trouble in the mid lane, though. Q misses. Wolf gets caught by the light binding. Going to take a little bit of damage on the way out. Maybe if that Q had hit from Wolf, they could have followed up on a little bit, but pressure on the mid lane either way. CLG takes that tier 2 in bottom, though.
And this is CLG's strong macro play here. When we talk about CLG these days, it's not that they have such strong individual performers, it's that their ability to shot call is actually quite good. And so they take that first blood and they actually turn it into a gold lead via just a teleport. They don't get phased, they head right back down to the bottom side of the map, and there's no pressure there up in top. And crucially right now, Wolf is only level 3, while Aframu, he was 2 on that gank in the mid lane. Aframu level 4, so he spent a lot of time roaming, but falling behind when it comes to experience and missing that crucial skill shot there in the mid lane.
Yep, CLG's going to grab that red buff. Looks like SK Telecom is going to go for the Rift Herald. Duke gets grabbed, and he's actually going to bring in Aframu as well with him. Duke trying to back away, but Stixay helps Xmithy pick up the kill. Wow, Duke just getting completely caught there. Great play by Aframu, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Duke way too far forward there, gets caught out, gets a little bit greedy, and that's a big punish there because they're going to deny Duke a lot of CS. He could have frozen that wave very deep and started to pile on an advantage on Darshan, but that's just not going to be the case right now. Blank on the other side of the map taking the Rift Herald. Now, can they actually turn this into something? They've gone down when it comes to turrets. They've gone down when it comes to gold, and CLG just beating him on the map right now.
Yeah, Faker could be in trouble here too. Xmithy coming in. Looks like Faker's kind of juking around the side of the lane, but he'll be okay. Has the ward there, so he should be safe. Wow. So CLG, they've got this little early lead. So what do you do with it? You know, how do you make this bigger?
Well, they have it. We're hearing the expert desk talk about it. They do have a pretty good team composition to create picks with the Lux and the Gragas. They've got some pretty decent team fighting, but they may want to try and start stepping up this siege while this Ezreal is still weak, because in the late game, SK Telecom is going to be extraordinarily difficult to deal with. They just have too much poke, and that blue build Ezreal, once he gets rolling, we've seen exactly what that champion can do. But CLG, they're not relenting. They're playing around the waves very well. Bang here, just trying to clear out on the other side of the map, but he's just going to be slower, and they have to get some wave clear over there, but they just don't have it. Of course, in this side lane, Duke here sitting on just a pickaxe right now, trying to build up to that Tiamat, but it's going to be hard for them to defend some of these objectives without Faker being there.
That Gromp belongs to Xmithy. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, SK Telecom saying, hey, we just want to kind of sit back and farm up, and CLG just putting on so much map pressure right now that it's kind of derailing SK Telecom for the moment anyway.
Yeah,
but
Aphromoo doing what he does best. I mean, Aphromoo has really been shining this season, I feel, when it comes to putting out down pressure, and he's the leader of this team. He can just challenge you for all of these jungle camps, as we see right away. He's just not relenting, knows that Stixxay is holding the pressure edge in that lane, and just making it very difficult for Wolf to walk out and even get wards in the river. So I really like the way Aphromoo been playing so far.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. Great gank onto Duke in the bot lane as well, or a little bit earlier. That was fun to see. It's always dangerous when you let Aphromoo have Thresh. That's something a lot of teams have ended up regretting.
Well, I mean, they banned out his Bard. That's a huge respect ban to him based on their last week of competition, where he did a lot in some of those team fights.
Yeah, that's right. Big week for CLG last week. The only team so far to take out Immortals.
Interesting, too. We haven't seen a lot of Frost Queen's claim, but it will be built here first, of course, on the Lulu. So they will have some extra, I guess, vision here and some ability to play around the engage of CLG. But this team composition is still going to take a while to get online, and CLG, they want this outer tier 1. Blank and Bang, the only ones there right now. They have Faker split pushing on this Lulu. He does have TP for a possible collapse.
Yep, and he's got, again, you know, that Frost Queen's claim too, so he's a little bit safer on the split push.
Yeah, they're just going to recall right now. I don't think CLG is going to be going anywhere with the waves so deep, and still going to have that Lux there. Looks like they will split off to try and deal with this wave. Lucian heading down to the bottom side, and Bang not ending up falling through with that recall. And they're going to swap Faker right back into that mid lane. They had hoped they would be able to get some at least split push pressure in the side lanes with 2 teleports, but it's not going to be able to happen here because the True Shot Barrage already used means that it was getting a bit dangerous there if they want to defend their mid tier 1.
Yeah, a Dragon's coming up in 10 seconds too, and right now CLG has a good amount of control over that side of the map. Somehow SK Telecom did get some wards into their jungle though, so we'll see how much attention SKT wants to actually pay to that.
I mean, the vision game, 100% in SK Telecom's favor right now. They've got deep wards in both sides of the jungle. They are starting to be cleared out, but they're trying to play and push up these lanes, get as much farm as they can, and just scale smoothly into that late game. They've retaken the gold lead in spite of the fact that they're a tower down.
I mean, this is the moment, right? This is when, if SK Telecom's going to win between 12 and 15 minutes, is really kind of when they start to take that lead. Darshan going in onto Duke, though, going to go for the 1v1. Nobody else really around. Teleport's available for the mid laners if they want to join, but Duke's just going to back away. I got way too excited about that 1v1 duel, didn't I? It was a top laner duel. I should have known better, Monty.
Duke can't really do anything right now. He has Boots of Swiftness and a pickaxe, and he's just playing to farm. He's trying to just get as much farm as he can. That's his goal at the present time, and be present on the map for that farm to get there as quickly as possible. But you're not going to be winning against a Poppy who already has a completed Sunfire cape.
Oh, wow. Wolf tried to block some of that damage, but Faker still took a big chunk. And SKT getting chunked out as Baron is alive is probably not exactly what they were looking for.
So second Dragon of the game looks like it will be going over to CLG.
Yeah.
Barring some sort of desperation. Nice poke there to set up this objective.
All right, this is Blank's moment, man. This is where he comes in and steals it with Nidalee, and everyone's like, Blank, you're pretty good after all. But he's walking around the side. Looks like they may want to fight this anyway. They're trying to push CLG back for the moment, taking out a couple wards.
It's risky for SKT.
Very risky right now. They just don't have a ton of power at the moment. Dragon getting lower. Blank, Faker's there. Faker only has half his life right now. Dragon does not get stolen. Xmithy secures it for CLG. And SK Telecom just has to back off.
Yeah, talk about fighting in a power trough right there. That is exactly the wrong time to be trying that engagement. They were poked out. They're still working to build up this Ezreal. It looks like they will be going for Rod of Ages, and Faker not going to get hit by that one.
Yeah, barely gets out of there with the recall just in time. I mean, I guess SK Telecom at least didn't try to overdo it, you know. They knew that they didn't need to fight over that dragon. Just kind of letting it go in the end. Blank evading into CLG's jungle. Oh, Xmithy might get caught right here. Oh, but Wolf misses his Q. Oh, well, wow, Blank going for it anyway. Xmithy low, there's a true shot barrage. Doesn't connect, though, and it looks like Xmithy will live. Won't get his red buff, but he'll stay alive at least.
Man, Wolf has not been good on this Braum so far.
Yeah.
He's missed 2 Qs on these ganks and attempts that really should have resulted in kills. And now, we're gonna find a pause.
Time for Wolf to reevaluate his life. It's like, this is feeling a lot like the last international event before Worlds I was at. Well, so hopefully he has a better tournament than that, though.
I mean, Wolves has only played Braum in 1 game this season, so it hasn't really been up there in terms of priority. He's been playing mostly Trundle and Alistair, and overall in his career, just taking a look, he's actually it looks like that was just a huge miscommunication because he pops actually his Raptor buff and starts attacking a ward and Tri-Brush while Darshan is dying. So that was just a little bit of a misplay there between the 2 teammates coming in, and Bang just takes that all in immediately, calls for the TP to back him up as soon as he sees the TP coming in from Huhi on Lux. And
so they're telling Blank now, it's like, all right, I know you're kind of nervous, but you got to gank a little bit more on this Nidalee. You'll do fine.
Okay, well, everybody's ready. We are going to be resuming this game right now. Looks like Blank is back in the game, and he will be going ahead and doing this Rift Herald with the rest of his teammates. They take the red buff, and you know, SKT, they've had that vision advantage. And I feel that if CLG doesn't do anything soon, SK Telecom's ability to outscale them is just going to take over this game.
Well, that's the danger, right? I mean, and that's kind of been the danger when SKT wins a lot of their games right now, is that they'll just simply outscale you. They'll just simply get to a point where they're crazy good team fighting. Their champions have gotten to the point where they've got a lot of strength. And CLG put a lot of good pressure on early, but they need to keep it going. A push in the mid lane certainly would do a lot to help that. Uh-oh, Bang. Gonna take a lot of damage here. Actually gets pulled into the culling. Nice hook from Aphromoo to secure that kill for CLG. Bang just overstaying his welcome there by the turret.
Well, he walked up because he actually didn't have his True Shot Barrage to clear that wave, but instead Aphromoo just lands another great hook and takes the kill.
I gotta say, man, Aphramoo's had a pretty awesome game so far on that Thresh.
He's been having a pretty awesome year. I have to say, he's been fantastic. And that'll be another kill coming in from CLG. They still are lagging behind when it actually comes to that gold total, though.
A little bit. I mean, this is actually a rare occasion where we see SK Telecom ahead in gold at 15 minutes.
Yeah, typically they're down by about 300 gold by this point in the game. But yes, it's very true what you say. So much of this season has been spent playing tanks with Bang scaling to carry in the late game. It's been all about Bang this season. Faker's played 6 games of Lulu. It's his most played champion. This is the style that they like to go with. They're not showing their hand by any means coming into this event. And they're just going for the comfort picks, really.
I mean, the thing is we've seen traditionally too when SK Telecom has issues in the jungle, Faker is forced to kind of pull back a little bit, play more utility style champions, not be quite the crazy aggressive Faker that we all know and love. Or that this season too, Darshan versus Duke up in the top lane, but Darshan's just going to back up under turret. Blank is coming up though. Darshan flashes the spear, pops that ultimate just in case. Wolf there to try to get that gank. Wolf gets knocked back to the Baron pit, and so that's going to be the end of that one, I guess.
Yeah, could have just not been knocked around right there, but instead does get hit by the Poppy ultimate. But this is the point in the game where the Trundle's going to start to take over, building into the TMI, being able to clear the waves faster. Now he's actually got some decent items completed, and those trades going to force out a flash. CLG still pushing in this mid lane, and they're going to have to lantern Stixay out.
Yep, trying to put a little bit more pressure on that turret, but SK Telecom much more ready this time than when they lost Bang a little bit earlier. So we'll see. I mean, because this is it, right? CLG has kind of started to stagnate a little bit in terms of pressure, in terms of what they've been able to accomplish on the map. So they got to make a move soon.
Yeah, but they keep grouping up. They keep trying to play this way, and Faker is frozen deep in his own lane. And the advantage here for CLG is that bottom lane is just constantly pressuring, pushing with the minion wave now that 2 are down. They're going to start to TP in.
That's right. They're going to bring in Faker and Duke on that ward. Going to go in onto Huhi, who gets knocked up by that Braum. Ultimate Culling comes in. SKT Blank gets the kill anyway. Faker will ult himself to knock up Aphromoo, slow him down. They've got to get through the box. Duke's going to tank that one wall, try to get Faker a little bit closer. There's the Whimsy, and there's a kill for Faker on SK Telecom, getting 2 for the blue side off of that engagement.
I mean, at a certain point, CLG became very predictable. They had tried that mid lane pressure like 4 or 5 times in a row at that stage, and they had SKT preempted it. They had already sent their TPs into the side lane so they could go ahead and make that play. They had the ward set up in mid, and they used the TPs at precisely the same time on the same ward, which makes it very difficult to tell how many people are actually going to be arriving. It was all 5. They catch out CLG and pick up a couple of kills. Huhi trying to make a play.
Yeah, trying to get down there on the Faker. Light Binding doesn't connect though. Faker dodging around, uses the Frost Queen's Claim just to slow Darshan. And so the reverse pressure, the reverse gank attempt coming in from CLG doesn't quite do the trick. They might still be able to get that mid lane. Oh, bang! Snipe Stixay from across the map. True shot barrage does work.
Yeah, they saw him go into that brush, actually. They didn't know if he had gone out the other side or not, but they just guessed. And so he was actually sniped blind right there. So Bang just making it up, and now he's 2-1-2, 100% kill contribution for this Ezreal, and he is starting to get scary.
Yeah, he is. Has that Iceborne Gauntlet. He's still stacking up that Manamuna. Still stacking the Cull, but he's culling some champions of his own from across the map. Let's check that one out again.
Oh, they did have I'm going to watch this replay first.
Yeah.
So we see the double teleports coming in, and just great timing. SK Telecom nails the timing on those teleports, so both Faker and Duke show up at the same time. Very late TP here from Poppy. Poppy below the river, not really able to do this, as all of SKT tracks into the topside jungle as a 5-man unit, so Darshan just has to run back under the turret, really has no opportunity to make a play there.
Yeah, SKT is going to turn it into another dragon, too. That's going to be Dragon number 2 for SK Telecom.
Well, it's actually Dragon 2, not another Dragon 2.
Right, it's another 2 Dragon. Dragon 2 goes to SKT for number 2.
And nobody here to defend Faker on the split push. He has a Lich Bane, so itemizing Frost Queen's Claim into Lich Bane. Very, very easy to start split pushing on this Lulu and just zoom out, of course, and they're starting to just come back into this game, and they've kind of torn it wide open now. 4K gold lead for SK Telecom here at 20 minutes.
I mean, when SKT wins, this is usually what we see, and when Blank gets caught in the jungle, this is usually what we see too. Actually, usually we see him die. He got away though. Managed to make it out. Got that flash, dodged the ult from Xmithy.
And he's been, it's been a pressure game for him. He actually has been stealing away some of these buffs, but honestly, when you see him in Italy, you would expect him to be, I don't know, 10, 20 CS ahead of the Gragas, but Xmithy's just been going camp for camp with him for the most part.
Yeah, there hasn't really been a lot of gank pressure coming in from Blank either. I mean, he's been doing okay, but as far as, you know, if I had to make a list of reasons SKT are winning this game, I don't think Blank would be too high up on that list.
Yeah, he's been okay, but certainly nothing outstanding, nothing on the order of what we've, what we're going to see probably later today from Swift or from MLXG yesterday.
Yeah, very true. Mid turret goes down. SK Telecom taking the lead in the turrets as well at this point. Blue buff. Yet again, going over to SKT, and if you're CLG at this point, your opponents are outscaling you. You're 5K, no, make that 6K down. Starting to lose all the pressure on the map. What do? You have to make some picks, right?
You have to team fight because they're in a position right now where they actually can't stop the Lulu and the Trundle split push, but they're not going to hit their timing. I mean, look at these teleports. They're coming right back up for SK Telecom. They use their TP inefficiently with Huhi, but Bang getting caught out.
Nearly gets killed off by the culling plus the Lux ultimate. Faker's back for vengeance, but not 1v3 vengeance.
No, they're going to lose that turret. True shot barrage, not going to buy them anywhere near enough time for this one. CLG fight back, nearly get that pick. Very good synergy between Huhi and Stixxay to set up that near kill with the culling and the light binding, but not able to actually confirm it. And now Stixxay on the run here. Glitterland's actually going to miss, so
yeah, Faker getting aggressive there. They got the flash out of him. Well, Faker flashed for that too, so Summoner for Summoner.
But Summoner definitely more valuable on that. Oh, actually didn't get flash out of Stixxay, never mind. So Faker.
Oh no, he just uses heal. Yeah, you're right.
Faker definitely getting the worst end of that deal. Had he trade flash for flash, of course, since Faker does have Whimsy and he has an ability to keep himself alive in that wild growth, and of course the shield, that would have been probably okay, but trading flash for heal, definitely not a good choice here for SKT.
Yeah. All right, so SK Telecom trying to find a way to close this one out.
Well, and we look at, the expert desk was talking about this, but if we look at CLG just coming off this 2-0 week, how did they beat Cloud9? How did they beat Immortals? And it was through the split push. And that has been their dominant and I would say only strategy, really. And as soon as we get into a situation where they can no longer control the map, they're not being decisive at all when it comes to actually attempting to force fights, using teleports as well as SK Telecom. This is, I think, a kind of it was a strong early game, surprisingly strong. I really like what CLG was doing, but they have just kind of tapped out at this point, it looks like.
Yep, the battle of the top lane tanks. Duke scaring Darshan away just a little bit. But that'll continue for pretty much the next few years. That's about right. Oh, Blank gets caught with a light binding. That's out, though.
QSS now picked up by Bang. I think he's tired of getting caught out by these light bindings. He died once, nearly died a second time. Picking up an item just to solve his issues in that regard. And
yeah, he's got 2 big items finished already, so about time to pick up that QSS.
So XMithy doing a good job of just being annoying here at the Baron, popping a ward and then continuously triggering the Baron, causing some damage to the members of SKT.
Bang still has that cull, which I'm a little bit surprised about.
He's probably, you know, sell that or the Dorans for some nice wards at this point in time. That would be my preference, Doa.
Yeah.
But it has slowed him down in terms of his damage. He does have the Muramana complete now.
This is professional League of Legends, man. This is where AD carries never sell Doran's blades.
I thought that was just solo queue. He really should just sell it.
You saw the games yesterday, right? I mean, there was not a lot of Doran's blade sales going on.
Well, honestly, at this point in the game, it's probably better. Well, he's going to sell the Cull, pick up the Bilgewater Cutlass. The Doran's blade, it's better to have that because you actually get a % life steal, and the later the game goes, the more that matters, as opposed to a flat 3 HP per hit. So yeah, I definitely want to sell the Cull right now.
Wolf getting grabbed there, getting locked up. Has to burn his ult, flashes away. XMithy coming in, Blank trying to support his support. And here comes Duke from the side for the flank. Drops that pillar, tries to slow up CLG to give SK Telecom the chance to catch up. Bang there with the damage. Duke takes the bit, but not much. Nice wild growth, 3-man knockup for SK Telecom. CLG still on the run, but Darshan with a good ultimate to help CLG disengage. Didn't go well, but it could have gone a lot worse for CLG.
Yeah, CLG had some nice kiting there. They thought they had caught out Wolf, and they're able to get some damage without losing anybody, surprisingly, in spite of that very good wild growth onto Duke that knocked up 4 or 5 members of their team.
Yeah, that was a great ult from Faker, but just not really an opportunity to follow up.
All right, so XMithy, he's not playing Udyr this time, but he is still going Zerat jungler. This has been the special here, but that said, it's just without another strong split pusher, it's just not going to be as effective this game. It might be able to buy them some time, but buy them some time for what, really, would be my question.
And we'll see. Duke making his exit from the top lane, didn't want to fight XMithy and Stixxay.
Ooh.
Uh-oh, Darshan. The hidden Darshan is the deadliest.
Well,
Wow.
very well might be, especially Aframu starting to come over right now. They're pushing forward while taking a dragon. This is not a smart call from SKT.
Yeah, they're going to get the dragon, but they might lose Faker. Faker trying to whimsy away. Wild Growth himself. There's the Q, and it looks like he'll be just fine. CLG couldn't collapse on him quite fast enough, I guess. Wow, that's a lot of damage coming out of that Lulu as well.
Yeah, well, Death Cap and the Lich Bane, so his autos are really starting to hurt now.
Yeah, and you look at Darshan, not a ton of MR on that Poppy right now either.
Yeah, just a cowl, still trying to build into that. Of course, there are a couple of AP threats, though, from SKT, especially now that the Nidalee Rod of Ages is going to be stacking up nicely. Abyssal Scepter already completed.
Yep.
And it's been mostly a farm game, but this is how SK Telecom is like to play. If you can't really pressure them early, they have been pretty good in the late game.
Very true. Bang over the wall, finds Aframu. Easy kill for SKT Bang. Had the ward, knew exactly where to go.
Forces a flash too. Just Bang coming in, doesn't have to use a summoner, kills the support, then takes out who he's flash.
This is what Bang does, man. I mean, they've been relying on him to carry all season long, and he has no problem doing that, especially on Ezreal. Definitely one of his best champions.
Yeah, even though the minion wave, and they've got the Zerat portal pushing down to that tier 2 turret. Look how aggressive Bang and Blank are playing right here.
Yeah, they've
actually kept Stixxay and Xmithie at their tier 2 turret, even though they have nothing, no minion wave, except at their own tier 2.
Huh. Duke pushing up bottom as well.
You have Titanic Hydra and Iceborne Gauntlet now. So usually we only see a Trundle go for one offensive item. And then build just straight tank stats after that, but not going to be true this time around.
Oh, two-shot barrage. Gets dodged by Stixxay, of course, but Faker, or Bang rather, already doing a ton of damage. I'm used to saying Faker, but it's really been Bang this season, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has been, but they've been playing around that strength, and it's been working very, very well.
Yeah.
In a lot of the games. In fact, I would say it's actually SKT's best strategy that they've used. I think when they shy away from having Bang be that big carry, that's where things start to go wrong for them.
Well, we saw Bang carry pretty hard in Season 5 a number of times in SK Telecom. You know, maybe would have lost the game otherwise. So he's really kind of come into his own, you know, as SK Telecom combined, you know, and SNK went away when we got this new SK Telecom T1 team. Post Piglet, post Mondu, Bang has really stepped up to be that great AD carry.
Yeah, he has, and we're seeing this just very large gold lead develop now, 7K, but there's only a 3 kill differential, and we are actually even here on turrets. So it's, you know, SK Telecom just making the most out of their pressure on the map right now, and Blank is really starting to pull ahead from Xmithie.
Yeah. Whoa, Huhi, man. Faker he's one of those players where you're like, I didn't know Lulu could do that much damage.
And he's just going to sit here and tank it with his shield, take a few Lich Bane shots, try and power down and increase their lead. But the 3 dragons are going to be worrisome for CLG.
I mean, I knew support Lulu could do that much damage because that's just how I play support Lulu. But mid, you know, you don't see it as often. Two-shot barrage doesn't hit Huhi. It was a nice try. Whoa, Faker going a little bit too early and gets grabbed after the wild growth. He's going to go down. Stuck around a little bit too long. That's Faker. Blank trying to get out of there, gets protected by his support a little bit.
Well, this is how they lost the Afrika Freaks. Remember, they were 5K ahead, and they started playing overly aggressive, getting caught out, and that allowed the Freaks to come back into this game. Stixxay in trouble.
All right, they're going for it. Stixxay over the wall there. Aframu with another grab. He gets taken down. Blank jumping onto Xmithie. Can't follow him over the wall, though. So they do lose someone. Stixxay very low. Oh, true shot barrage. Bang, anticipating where Huhi was going to dash to. He got him. And now SKT pushing in onto this inhibitor turret. Huhi very low. Double kill now for Bang. Bang has been unleashed, man. Another big ult from Darshan before he dies, but didn't stop Bang. Just going to wait for his team to catch up, and they're going to easily get an inhibitor out of this, and they may get a little bit more, actually. This might just be it.
I mean, CLG, their big problem here is that they just didn't do anything in this game. They had the nice trades early on. They played out their script very well. This is a team that is knowledgeable about how these early lane swaps are going to go, what plays they can make. But when they're off script, they just couldn't compete with SK Telecom. They couldn't make the plays, and then SKT outscaled them.
And that is it. GG, SK Telecom taking out CLG in our first game.